Welcome back to another edition of the Washington Nationals here on OOTP 27. And as you can see, we are not doing so hot as expected. 49-60 at the moment, 13 games back in the NL East division. In fourth place, we take a look at our expanded standings here, and we are at a minus 47 run differential. We continue to be good in one-run games and extra innings, and then just terrible in everything else. We are 7-5 post All-Star break, though, so that's something. 6-4 in our last 10, so I guess playing slightly better as of late. But we did just have an injury here. You can see it's currently July 30th. We are 2 days away from the trade deadline, and we just had an injury to our rotation as Foster Griffin went down with a strained forearm for 6 weeks. He's been pitching decently well for us this season, so that's going to be a bummer for our rotation, and we're going to have to figure that out. You can see we've also called up Yarlin Susana. He is in our rotation because I just figured, why not just throw him in the rotation rather than trying to put him in the bullpen like we're trying to ease him in? Like, I don't give a fuck. We got no talent. Put him in there. See what he can do. Why the hell not? So he's in the rotation. He's gotten 2 starts, and he's actually been quite good in both of those starts. We look at the games here. His debut was at Colorado. Tough place to have your debut, but he handled it. He went 5 1/3, gave up 3 earned, gave up 2 walks, 3 Ks. Not the best outing. But then goes at home to against Toronto, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no home runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. So he gets that in the W, his first win of his career, and he's got 2 starts. And, we're not going to complain too much because they've gone decently well. And hopefully he can develop into a really good pitcher for us because we need pitching in this. I mean, we need everything, really, but the pitching, I feel like, is the number one thing that I like to develop first anyways, and then 2, I just feel like the Nationals have just been so behind on the pitching curve, on the pitching development, just the past decade, I would say, that, I mean, it's just, there's a lot to be done. So hopefully Susana can continue to pitch well for us. Mitchell Parker's still pitching well. Brad Lord's been solid. He's currently on fire. Cade Cavalli's kind of struggled here as of late. We look at his splits here. Really good in April, struggled a bit in May, good in June, and then July he's gotten beat up a bunch, 5 starts, and he's been terrible, giving up a shit ton of home runs as well. Don't love to see that. And then our bullpen's just kind of doing whatever. DJ Hers is up for us right now. He's been terrible. We moved Zach Littell to the bullpen because he was just so bad. Has he even gotten any? He's gotten 3 bullpen appearances, and he's been bad in those too. So Zach Littell is an expiring free agent. We're going to try to get rid of him here at the deadline. If we can't, we might even just DFA him and just eat the money for the rest of the season, just get a different guy in there because he's giving up so many home runs that just getting a different guy in the bullpen would be an upgrade, I feel like. DJ Hers as well has been giving up too many home runs, but only in 4 innings he has. But he's also just a extreme fly ball guy, so that's just always going to be a problem with him, which is why I don't like going after extreme fly ball guys. I would also like to try to get this stuff up to be very high and not just low, so we're going to request a scouting report. But, yeah, hopefully he can pitch better. And I'm not going to go over the full recap of the team here, but we are going to be doing the trade deadline here. Obviously, there's not, too much to, sell off on this team. If we take a look at our front office salary page here, I guess Luis Garcia could be somebody we sell off. He's only got 1 more year of team control. He's somebody we could look to shop around. Foster Griffin just got hurt, but he's also somebody we could look to shop around. I doubt Trevor Williams garners any interest, but he's technically our most expensive player. Keibert Ruiz is definitely not going to get any interest whatsoever. CJ Abrams only has 2 more years of team control, and he's a second baseman now with Nasim Nunez on our team, so maybe, I don't know about the deadline, but maybe in the offseason he's somebody I look to possibly move on from, get some younger, more team-controllable talent. Littell's somebody, like I said, I'm going to look to try to swap. Jake Irvin, he's not going to be interested. Nobody's going to want him. He's just going to not be. He's just going to be non-tendered in the offseason. Same with these guys. Nobody's going to want them. And then we're not going to trade Cavalli, Brady House. Adbert Alzolay, I forgot to mention, I claimed him off waivers from the Mets at one point, and he got like 10 and a third, was not very good, so he's down in AAA for us after clearing through waivers. Doubt he sticks around for more than the rest of this season. And then there's just not really a lot of things to trade here, so it's going to be like, can we trade Williams, Garcia, Griffin, and Littell, and then maybe Abrams in the offseason? But the rest of these guys, probably not really going to be doing anything with them, and it's more about just kind of finishing out the rest of the season, maybe trying to bring in some like depth quad A guys that we can give a chance to, and just see what happens. Yeah, just doing the shop here for Zach Littell. The only thing that pops up is Cooper Criswell, which obviously is something that I'm not really... I mean, I guess there's no downside just being like, here, we'll take Cooper Criswell, you can take Zach Littell. But, I mean, is Cooper Criswell going to really do anything for us? Is he somebody we're looking to bring past one season? Probably not. I mean, the fact that he's just not a fly ball pitcher and has 45 home runs allowed and not 40, that might honestly just be an upgrade there. So maybe I might think about doing this. Plus, it's also saving a little bit of money for the rest of the season. Just taking a look at the interest in Luis Garcia here. There's a decent amount of 45s and 50s that pop up. A lot of them are just like the regular types, like the 27-plus-year-olds that are like, fine if you want to acquire a guy like that, but I'm trying to get a guy who's a bit younger, who has some more team control for Luis Garcia here, and obviously I would try to get multiple players for him, but I do think that the best realistic, like obviously I'm not going to go out and try to just get Chris Bubich for Luis Garcia. I don't think that's very realistic, even if Bubich is injured. I think it'd be kind of scummy to trade for him because he's injured, and I feel like that's probably the only reason they're even offering him, because he's injured. But somebody like Connor Prelip here, have you said this guy's name? He's a bit of an older, not really a prospect anymore, almost 26 years old, lefty guy. Not really getting a chance in Minnesota. He's in their bullpen, didn't really do too great. But he could go into our rotation here. Looks like he's a fly ball pitcher. So not the best, but he does have a good enough home run allowed to where I wouldn't be too concerned. It's also not extreme fly ball. So he'd be possibly interesting to look at, maybe try to get a Twins player, maybe a couple Twins players. And the Twins are currently in the playoff hunt. So they're not a team that's like on the bottom of the barrel here. They're trying to, make some moves here. And a guy like Connor Prelip for a bat like Luis Garcia, I feel like that could help the Twins. So that could be something. The other one that popped up was Alejandro Osuna, a 24-year-old lefty outfielder in the Rangers organization, currently raking in AAA. I don't know about raking, but hitting quite well in AAA with the Round Rock Express. And he's got some good BABIP, decent corner outfielder, really good arm to be like a right fielder. But like we have guys in the outfield that I feel like we at least want to develop. Like right now we kind of have a logjam in the outfield, even if they're not really doing, or maybe I don't know about logjam, but I feel like it's a lot of guys that are just kind of like okay. So I guess it's kind of fine if we pick up an outfielder, especially if we're going to trade Luis Garcia since he's playing the outfield for us. But also, it doesn't really make sense for the Rangers to go out and acquire somebody like Luis Garcia because they are currently bottom of the barrel in the AL West. They're even worse than the Los Angeles Angels. Not quite run differential-wise, but with record-wise. You can see here they're getting a bit gypped on their Pythagorean, but they're still not a good team by any means. They are 7-3 in their last 10. So, maybe they could sort of make a run. Like where, it's projecting them to be like about where the Mariners are. Where are the Mariners in the wild card? They're like 3 games back. They're like the second team out of it. So, they could possibly push for a playoff spot, but also like the Rangers are like way the hell down here. So I don't really think that's realistic for them to be thinking about that. So like, I think on paper, it's probably Ozuna is the best bet. We also don't know exactly how good this BABIP is. The fact that it's very low accuracy kind of scares me. That like we would get him, scout him up, and then all of a sudden this drops down to like a 50, and all of a sudden he's a 45. So that's kind of concerning to me. I do like that he's walking a ton in AAA. He's one of the better bats as well. The other stuff is not really that great, but I think I'm kind of preferring the pitcher, honestly, from the Twins. Try to get this pitcher in here, lefty guy. He's been pitching well in AAA. Didn't really do too well for Minnesota in their bullpen, but maybe we could work some magic with him. Turn him into like a 3-4-5 starter type, possibly. I think that's probably his ceiling. And then he's a bit higher scouted, so we're more confident in that these are like actually what he is. And then even if you look at the Major League Baseball percentile rankings here, his breaking stuff really good. The hard hit rate is really good. The outside, the O contact is really good. Decent, I guess. I mean, it's green with the average exit velo and walk percentage and K percentage. And then his fastball velo is pretty good too. So, maybe he gets a tick up once we actually get a good defense in place and whatnot. So who knows? But I think we're preferring Connor Prelip here as the guy we want to go after. And then maybe try to add on like a quad A guy or two. All right, so I think we've got a little package that we like here for Luis Garcia, and I think we're going to pull the trigger on it here. So Luis Garcia with one more year of team control after this at $10 million, which is just, a lot of money for a player like this. And then also just we're not going to bring him back after that, so might as well try to get value for him here. We're going to be picking up a guy who could be in a rotation right away in Connor Prelip, a lefty out of a town in Wisconsin, went to the University of Alabama. He's a fly ball pitcher, but some of these ratings are good enough to where I'm not too concerned about the fly ball pitching, especially also with some of these percentile rankings here in the majors are a bit intriguing. So we're gonna give him a shot in our rotation or bullpen, whatever it may be. He'll be in the big leagues right away. And then we have two guys who Billy Amick is a bit more of a prospect here. He's almost 24. He was drafted recently, second round in 2024, yeah. If you aren't aware who Billy Amick is, he was on the Tennessee team a couple years ago. He played for one of Vitello's Tennessee teams, and he was like their dude. He walked up to the stroke, Billy Squire, the stroke, now everybody, have you heard? If you're in the game, then the stroke's the word. You've heard the song. You know the song. They play it. Everybody's clapping along. It's a good time. So he's going to come in and join our system here. He's pretty much just a first baseman DH type, but he's got some decent potentials here between BABIP, gap power, and power, which is what I would like to see for a guy who's going to be a mainly bat type player. Not really doing too hot in his AAA chance, but he's okay in AA. And I just figured I know the name. He's an interesting prospect. He's not even Rule 5 eligible yet either. So figured why not throw him on here, and they were willing to give him to us. And then we're also going to go for another bat-first type in Kalai Rosario, who I've seen bounce around in different saves before, and I always am tempted to give this guy a shot because he's a powerful hitter. He's got a big gap power, big power, decent eye and BABIP as well. Obviously some big swing and miss. Not really going to be the greatest outfielder, but could be okay-ish in left field. But he's probably more of a first base DH type long term. And he's a guy who also may end up right in the big leagues for us. We will have to see. But you can see here he's not doing that well in AAA, but his percentile rankings are great in AAA. And he was tearing the cover off the ball in AA. So probably going to give him a chance. Who knows? If not this year, then probably next year. And we're probably going to have a bit more of a different look to our team next season as we try to get some different guys in there. And one of them could be Rosario here. So Prelip, Amick, and Rosario are going to come over to our team for Luis Garcia going to the Minnesota Twins. Alrighty, so we're out here shopping Foster Griffin, who's been having a good season for us. But he's somebody he's 31 years old. We're not going to be interested in bringing him back. He does have one more year of team control through arbitration at $9 million. But we're not going to pay that. We're not going to have an interest in bringing him back next season. He's been solid enough for us this year, though, and we're going to try to get some value out of him by sending him to the Cincinnati Reds. And they straight up offered Jay Allen II here, who is our future center fielder. This guy is going to, I might even plug him in right now, honestly. He's in AAA. I figure, or he's in AA, but he's played a lot in AAA this year. I figured why not? We could probably just call him right up, be our center fielder. He's got the ability. He's got the 70 range. He's got the 70 ability in center. Better than anything we got. So Jay Allen and then Zach Maxwell as like a potential back end of the bullpen piece. Big dude, 6'6", 275. I know they called him up at the end of last season in real life. Hard thrower, right-hander at a Georgia Tech. And they're not using him. And also, I do see that the Reds are listed as a rebuilding team, but they are actually currently in the thick of it. They are 53 and 55. They've got a positive, or no, their run differential is not great, but they're Pythagorean. They're outplaying their Pythagorean, but they're 53 and 55. They're within striking distance of the wild card. So trading for Foster Griffin, giving up a reliever and an outfielder they're not planning on using is, I don't feel like that's too big of a thing, so we're going to go and acquire Jay Allen and Zach Maxwell for Foster Griffin. Don't really know what this is about, but I was just curious. Retaining no money, just straight up shop player, prospects, regulars for Keibert Ruiz, who is on this terrible contract through 2032. Just straight up, the Blue Jays would be like, hey, we'd give you currently out for the whole season and most of half of next season, Tommy John, Bowden Francis. I mean, this just seems like a no-brainer yes to me. Like, it seems like I'm just ripping off the AI, so I'm not doing this. I don't know why this is even popping up, but it is. I'm not doing that. That's too cheap to me. If Bowden Francis was a guy who was getting paid like a similar amount of money and it was more for like a swap a bad contract for a bad contract sort of situation, then I could be like, maybe that's interesting, but that's what that was offering was just not. That was just straight up a salary dump for nothing. Like, why would they want to take on his contract, especially the team like the Blue Jays who don't need a catcher? Another thing I wanted to mention, I don't think we're going to be doing any more trades here, but Adbert Alzolay I noticed was showing up a lot in when I would do Make This Work. And for whatever reason, teams want this guy. He's listed as a 45 overall starter, even though he's not good and has not pitched well and is not even in the big league team for us. But like, I could trade Adbert Alzolay straight up for like Graham Ashcraft, who is a very useful player, or like Eric Sabrowski, who's hurt but also is a very useful player, or even like a Ryan Feltner, who's a useful, I guess not really rated that well in this game. I feel like he's kind of gypped in the ratings in this game. But one of the things that popped up was, I guess it's not popping up anymore, but one of it was the Royals were offering, like, I think it was Gavin Cross, one of their like better outfield prospects. I don't know about that. He's like a 45, could like immediately play for us. But I wasn't really going to do that because I just don't think Alzolay would have value with this. Like, you look at his ratings, everything looks fine except for the home runs allowed, and just has not pitched well this season. So I don't know why he has any value whatsoever, but he apparently does, and I'm just not going to go out and like trade a bunch of bullshit for him. But I think I am going to do, now I'm not reminded, I am going to do that Zach Littell for Cooper Criswell deal, just to kind of swap, like, hey, we'll give you this guy, you give us your guy. Oh, wait, did I see Lane Thomas? That's a new one. We would get Lane Thomas for the rest of the season. As if we needed another guy who can only hit against lefties. And is not even doing that this season. So, yeah, not really sure we're interested in Lane Thomas. I don't even know if we're really interested in Cooper Criswell, to be honest. Maybe. Are the Mariners, like, in it? They're under 500. They're 53 and 56, but the West is kind of a down division this year, and also they're like way underplaying their Pythagorean right now. They're -6 on that. Terrible in one-run games and 3 and 9 in extra innings. So that's not great for them. But like Zach Littell on paper is a much better player than somebody like Cooper Criswell, but also like 45 movement, 45 home runs allowed. Zach Littell, 40 movement, 40 home runs allowed, and it's just all control. He relies so much on just getting ground balls. I guess he's a fly ball pitcher with 40 home runs allowed. I mean, he's terrible. So it's just not going to work. So I think I am interested in doing just this swap and just see how it is. Maybe Cooper Criswell doesn't even end up on our team, and we end up just putting him in AAA anyways or DFAing him. But at the very least, we're just going to go, hey, Zach Littell, Cooper Criswell, let's swap. And maybe it works out for them. So we're going to go ahead and do it. Boom, Cooper Criswell is now a Washington National. Alrighty, so here is the new look pitching staff here heading into the trade deadline. We're going to be rocking a 6-man rotation because why the hell not? We're doing it. We've committed to it. Cade Cavalli, Connor Prelip, Brad Lord, Mitchell Parker, Yarlin Susana, and then Cooper Criswell, who's actually a better starter than he is a reliever. If you move him to as a starter, he's a 45. You move him to a reliever, and then suddenly it's like, wow, this guy who doesn't throw hard and can only go deep into games, and that's his whole thing, is not a good reliever. So he's a starting pitcher. So he's going to get time in the rotation here. Hopefully this is going to help our bullpen. Now that we have 6 starters, I don't really know. We're just kind of throwing guys out there, seeing whatever happens. And then we also called up Zach Maxwell. We have DFA'd Trevor Williams, even though he was pitching well, just because we're not going to bring him back next season, and he's just terrible anyways, stat-wise or ratings-wise. Although he does have all this great percentile ranking stuff, but it's not going to last. So we are just putting him on waivers, and maybe he ends up back on the staff once he clears waivers or something. But for now, he's not on the staff. DJ Hers could get sent down because he's been not great, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We want this guy to work out, but it may not work out with DJ Hers. But this is what we're rocking here in the bullpen and the rotation at the moment. And then on the hitting side of things, lots of variety to our lineups here against righties and against lefties. They change quite dramatically depending on who's pitching. So against righties, it's Glasser at third leading off, then Lyle, Wood, Mervis, and Abrams with 5 straight lefties. Nunez in the 6th hole just to get some, a little bit of I guess he would be a lefty against a right-handed pitcher, but just to get a little bit of a breakup there in case they bring in a righty or a lefty out of the pen. Then there's Ford Hassel, who we called up, sent down Christian Franklin, get Hassel in here as another lefty bat against righties. And then Jay Allen is our center fielder both ways. And then against lefties, it is Phillip Glasser, Brady House, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, Dalen Lyle, Harry Ford, Jay Allen, Abrams, and Nasim Nunez. Honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I think I want to swap these two to where Allen's 7th and Ford is 9th. And that's going to be what we're rocking with here. Oh, I also called up Matt Mervis. I forgot to mention that. He's been down in AAA just absolutely mashing 65 grade power. I mean, just blew at the wazoo in the percentile rankings. And I figured, we need some pop at the team. Might as well call him up here and have him play first base against right-handed pitching as a lefty bat. And then against lefties, it's James Wood playing first base. Oh, also, we just passed the trade deadline here, but another thing I should mention, this development update here reminded me, is that we currently have some of our early round draft picks already in AA because our first round pick, 11th overall, Cameron Flukie here, he's already a 45, and I just forgot to lock him, and they just immediately put him in AAA, and he got 2 starts there. It wasn't the greatest. He did have a good ERA. The FIP wasn't great, though. The K- walk was terrible, was walking a bunch of guys, giving up too many home runs. But, they put him immediately in AAA because you look at his AAA rating, he's a 60 overall in AAA. We currently have him in the Eastern League where he's an 80 out of 80. And you can see here he dominated 1 start. So we're going to be paying close attention to Cameron Flukie here. But, if all of a sudden we're going on a run here and we could use another pitcher, maybe we call up Cameron Flukie. But even if we don't do that, he's going to be in the mix for a rotation spot heading into next season at the very least, I would say. So, that's definitely exciting. Cameron Flukie. And then we've also got Hunter Dietz, who is also already on the AA team out of University of Arkansas. We look at his ratings in the Eastern League. Bam, 55. He can hold his own there, so he's up in AA. And he hasn't pitched yet, but we're excited to see what he can do as well. You'll never believe it, folks. CJ Abrams has once again injured himself. He has strained his abdominal muscle for a second time this season. He's gotten a strained abdominal muscle twice, a strained hamstring, a torn quadriceps. Brutal year for CJ Abrams, as we are probably 100% trading him in the offseason, as he's going to go on the IL again. And folks, our drafting pitcher's luck has continued into this National Series as Tyler Pitzer, 2 starts for the Fredericksburg Nationals in low A ball, and boom, torn flexor tendon, gonna miss the rest of the season, and possibly some of next season too. Alrighty, folks, we have reached the end of the 2026 campaign, and our Washington Nationals have finished the year at 72-90, 4th place in the NL East Division, and negative 85 run differential exactly on our Pythagorean at 72-90. We continued to play well in one-run games and extra inning games as well, but then everything else was just not good. We did end up being 1 game over, 24-23 against lefties with all of our weird soft side platoons that we had, but against righties, really just not cutting it. And let's take a look at what's actually under the hood here for the stats. April, May, June was all around 12 and 15. July was not great. August was okay, I guess, and then September we stunk. But I mean, none of these months were good. We just had that weird 1 game over 500 against lefties, and then for whatever reason we played well in 1-run games. Don't know why. Our hits ended up not being quite as good as they were at one point, but just a truly dreadful offense here. 15th in runs scored is just completely unacceptable. Horrible, horrible stuff on the offensive side of the ball. And then on the pitching, I feel we can be a bit encouraged there. 8th in ERA, 6th in starters, 8th in bullpen, 8th in runs allowed, 7th in hits allowed, 8th in opponent's average, 3rd in BABIP, tied for 9th in home runs. That's been higher, that's been lower than it was right now. Then we finished with 9th in base on balls, not striking anybody out. The defensive efficiency was really good, but the zone rating, only about mediocre, 8th in the National League, and then we did commit a lot of errors as well. So some things to improve on, but also some things that are encouraging on the pitching side of things. But then the offense, just really bleak overall. We stole a lot of bases, and that was really it. And I even messed with these settings throughout the season where I would, this used to be higher, the stolen bases, and the aggressiveness used to be higher. I lowered it down into the red. Nothing mattered. We were just a horrible base running team who stole a lot of bases the whole season long. And CJ Abrams did end up finishing the season on a rehab assignment just because I was like, I don't really give a shit about giving him time at the moment. He's gone in the offseason. He's definitely being traded. Just a dreadful season for him. Could not stay healthy whatsoever. 4.5 weeks with strained abdominal muscle, 3 weeks with a strained hamstring, 5 weeks with a torn quadricep, and then 6 more weeks with another strained abdominal muscle. Just not a good year for CJ Abrams. Loses his shortstop position to Nasim Nunez, who's way better defensively. And let's just start things off with our terrible bats here. Unfortunately, if we sort by wins here, our guy, Phillip Glasser, did not end up having the season that we all hoped he was going to end the year with, but nobody will forget the first half Phillip Glasser, the 2026 and National League All-Star Phillip Glasser. Nobody can take that away from him. Is he going to be on next year's team? Yeah, I'm sure he'll be here. Is he going to be a starter? Probably not. May even start the year in AAA. Who knows? But Phillip Glasser, no one will forget the first half that he had in 2026. I mean, my goodness, just completely out of nowhere. What a fluky season. But ends up finishing with a 1.2 WAR and 96 WRC plus, 21 doubles, 8 home runs. Nothing really special there. 20 swiped bags, not a great rate either. And then also just not a great defender. Really at any position. Just kind of, did whatever. But as far as our best players when it comes to wins above replacement, we have James Wood, Dalen Lyle, and Nasim Nunez, who all have 2.5 wins. James Wood does it all with the bat as mainly a DH for us this season. Did play some first base as well, as we're trying to get him familiar with that position, because he's really not an outfielder at this point in time. He's just not really good enough to play out there. And I just prefer to have good defenders at all three outfield positions. So James Wood, good offensively though this season, 30 doubles, 33 home runs, 93 runs driven in, 88 runs scored, 30% strikeout rate. You know, it's going to be whatever with a guy like him, but he does walk a ton as well. Puts up an 843 OPS. We'll take it. 24 swipe bags as well. So 2020 season for James Wood, we'll take it. And then Dalen Lyle does what he does, 2.5 wins, 108 WRC plus, 26 doubles, no home runs, but he hits a bunch of extra base hits, gets on base with, hits, doesn't really walk, but he doesn't strike out either, and he stole a ton of bags this year, 34 swipe bags and an 81% clip. And then if we take a look at his fielding stats, he was also quite good in both of the corners, more so in right than left, but, nothing to complain about in left. Also, just now seeing that he's now down to fragile. Don't love that. He had a couple nagging injuries and then just 4 to 5 weeks torn quadricep, and now he's fragile, whereas CJ Abrams, who had 80 billion injuries, is still just normal. And Dalen Lyle is this weird player, too, where, he has a good offensive season. He's got that good BABIP, gap power, good speed to go with the gap power, which I always like. But, when it comes to, his exit velos, his barrel percentage, it's not great. And then Nasim Nunez was just all glove this season. There was a little bit of time where he had an okay-ish bat, but ended the season with a 65 WRC+. But even despite that, a 2.5 win season, as he is just an incredible defender at the shortstop position, 13.4 ZR for him. You take a look at the percentile rankings, 99th percentile for base running and 97th percentile for fielding. That's the good stuff right there. Nasim Nunez doing what he does. Also swiping 67 bags at an 89.3% rate. And then the rest of the team, not a lot of positives there. Brady House puts up 1.4 wins. It's all against lefties, just dreadful against righties. But Masha's lefties, we need him to be able to hit against both sides if he's going to be valuable whatsoever for us down the long term. Same thing with Dylan Cruz. Just all against lefties, dreadful against righties. The same thing needs to happen for him, where he needs to improve big time. We also have, we already talked about Phillip Glasser. Harry Ford, not a great rookie campaign for him. Exactly 1 wins, 77 WRC+. Was actually pretty good fielding-wise, 87th percentile fielding run value. As a catcher, does walk a ton as well. We're hoping his bat improves a bit heading into next season. Now he's had a full season in the big leagues. But at the very least, he's a good enough defender to at least stick there as a catcher. So that's good to see. In real life, people are like, oh, he's probably going to hit. Not really sure if he's going to catch. In our universe, the complete opposite. Andres Chaparro also got some time in the big leagues. He ended up doing pretty well for us. Maybe he gets some more time for us next season. Who really knows? But didn't really play too much. But when he did play, he was around a league average bat. So you can't complain too much with that whenever he played. Jose Tena was not good for us this season, 86 WRC+, ended up on the bench to end the season. Robert Hassel, in 162 plate appearances, did not really do anything, 88 WRC+. We take a look at his percentile rankings. Expected batting average was decently high, but everything else not really that great. Keibert Ruiz, just terrible. Jay Allen, terrible at the plate. And then also good enough in center field, only 49 games. Did not mean to back out of that page. Only 49 games with a 3.4 ZR, but long term, I do think he is going to be able to hang at center field. Is he going to be a good enough hitter to be an everyday center fielder? Probably not, but that's where he's playing right now. And then Matt Mervis, who we gave a chance to coming up from AAA because he was tearing the cover off the ball down there. You look at his AAA percentile rankings, just tearing the cover off the ball down in the International League. Comes up to the big leagues. It's obviously a giant step in talent, and he's not doing anything nearly as well. The barrel rate, not too bad. Same with the max EV. But, the results just were not there for Matt Mervis. I doubt he's back for us next season. At least you probably not. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll do a platoon of Mervis and Chaparro. I don't know. We'll see. And then Jorbit Bibas, he came up towards the end of the season, got a little bit of time, didn't really do anything for us. He has a good expected BA and doesn't strike out, but doesn't hit the ball really at all, so not really too valuable of a player, and also just not a good defender either. And then on the pitching side of things, if we sort by innings pitched, we've got Cade Cavalli, who ends up with a 2-win season, 2.3 wins, 103 WRC plus, barely above league average when it comes to ERA and with FIP. He was low 4 in both of them. The K- walk was not great, but a sub-1 home run per 9, and puts up a 2-win season. We'll take it. Brad Lord also puts up a 2-win season with a very similar to Cavalli sort of line, bit higher of an ERA, but basically the same exact FIP, and then a 12 K- walk, not the best, but then also limited home runs decently well. Mitchell Parker, unfortunately, started struggling towards the end of his stint in the rotation. At one point, if we look at his scouting history here, at one point he was back up to a 45. Now he's back down to a 40 because he really struggled down the stretch here. If we look at his splits here in the bigs, came up in the bullpen, was really good in April and May. June was good in the rotation and the bullpen. And then July struggled a bit. August really got hammered, and September was like mediocre. So Mitchell Parker probably not going to be long for the rotation for us. Connor Prelip coming over from the Twins at the deadline ends up doing 10 starts for us in the rotation and performing quite well. 145 ERA plus, which is a 2.89 ERA, and a slightly better than league average FIP at a 4.10. So we'll take that. Good to see there. That's hopefully he can continue to capitalize on that next season for us. And then the other starters, Yarlin Susana ended up getting 11 starts coming up from AAA as a 22-year-old, and he was, he held his own, nothing too special. Definitely had a really low BABIP, walked a bit too many guys, but a decent strikeout rate, but nothing too great. We would like to see that improve in the future. He still has a lot of potential, room to grow here, so we're hoping that gets filled in a bit over the next couple seasons, and he turns out to be just a filthy pitcher for us. And then as far as the other pitchers go, Clayton Beater gets 97 innings in the bullpen this season, ends up being slightly better than league average. We'll take it. Same with Granillo. He ended up finishing the season as our closer. Don't really know why he pitched so well, but he did. He had a good season, 20 saves, 28 shutdowns, 6 holds before he got the closer spot. Only to 9 meltdowns with 20 saves. So we'll take it. Andre Granillo. He'll be back next season. Do I think he's going to repeat this performance? Probably not, but maybe. Cole Henry ended up being really above average with the ERA, but it's a bit misleading because the FIP wasn't that great. Walked a ton of guys this year. Don't love to see that. Cionel Perez, he was a bit better than league average. That's good to see. Same with PJ Poulin. He was a bit better than league average in 63 2/3 innings. We already talked about Susana. Trevor Williams had God come down from the heavens and speak to him and tell him, hello, use the same energy that you spend hating gay people in pitching average in a low leverage role. And he went out there and he did that. So Trevor Williams goes out there and does it. Is he going to be back next season? Absolutely not. He's an expiring contract. We will not be bringing him back at 40 home runs allowed, despite how fluky his season was. Zach Maxwell came up from AAA, ended up being quite good. He was pitching in a low leverage role, but in 23 1/3 innings, had a really good ERA plus and a FIP minus. That's a low 3 ERA, a mid 3 FIP. We like to see it. He's somebody that we're hoping is going to be a big part of our bullpen next season. That's a 93 percentile K percentage, 95th percentile fastball velo, 94th in expected ERA, 95th in hard hit rates. Lots of good numbers you're seeing here, and just overall in his stats, so we love to see that from Zach Maxwell. DJ Hers was just not good in 12 2/3 innings, gives up way too many home runs. It's a problem all the time for him. He's an extreme fly ball guy. Probably not somebody we're going to keep on this roster. Might even try to flip him for something this offseason, if I'm being honest. And then we also have Luis Perales, who came up in the September call-ups, got 7 2/3. He also was not great, walked way too many people. He's somebody with a 50 potential as a starter, so we're hoping that he can develop a bit. I just wanted to get him some time in the big leagues down the stretch as a cup of coffee, because he's a guy who has to go on the Rule 5 or has to be protected from the Rule 5 anyways, so I figured why not call him up and get a cup of coffee. Did not do well, but hopefully he can improve next season for us. And then just taking a quick look at some of the stats around the league on the hitting side of things, Yandy Diaz leads Major League Baseball in batting average. Dalen Lyle was actually top 7 on this list with a .293 average. And then the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, with 50 home runs, leads Major League Baseball in front of Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, and Eugenio Suarez, who apparently got traded to the Yankees at the deadline from Cincinnati and hit a bunch of home runs in Yankee Stadium. When it comes to wins above replacement, Bobby Witt Jr. just a mile above everybody else with a 9.1. Leader in the National League was a 7.0 with Willy Adames of the Giants. And then when it comes to the stolen base leader, it was Nasim Nunez beating out Chandler Simpson, who has godlike 80-grade speed. Doesn't even matter because Nasim Nunez has 65 speed, but he has 80 steal tendency and 75 stealing ability, and he makes it work. Swipes 67 bags at a really good rate, whereas Chandler Simpson, at about the same rates, 63 bags at an 88.7 rate for Chandler Simpson. And then some more orange text here. We've got James Wood, who had the third most strikeouts in Major League Baseball this season. Lots of ABs as the DH, and just striking out a ton. So don't love to see that. But he also had the second most walks in baseball, tied with Aaron Judge, only beat out by Ronald Acuna Jr. And then on the pitching side of things, you've got your ERA leader was Max Fried. In the National League, it was Logan Webb. The strikeout leader was Cole Reagans. Behind him, Tarek Skubal and Yamamoto. When it comes to wins, wins above replacement, it's Tarek Skubal, Logan Webb, Chris Sale, Yamamoto. And then, as you would expect, there is nobody on our team who is among the league leaders here for pitching. On the fielding side of things, though, we've got Nunez is third in assists, sure, whatever. And then nobody else shows up here for the defensive side of things either. The best catcher at throwing out runners was Patrick Bailey. He was also the second best when it comes to catchers' earned runs average. Defensive efficiency was Patrick Bailey. And framing runs, he was third. Kirk and Austin Wells were number 1 and 2. Also, I should just show what the standings look like very quickly. You've got the Yankees winning the AL East division with the Red Sox and Blue Jays behind them. The Tigers winning the Central division with the White Sox and Twins behind them in second and third. Running away with it, the Tigers did. By far the best team in the Central division. The West was the Mariners, ended up bouncing back and being the top team in that division. 86 wins is enough to take it, as they have the best run differential in that division. In the East, it was the Braves, followed by the Mets and the Phillies, and then us, as the Marlins had a minus 132 run differential in last place. In the Central, you've got the Brewers, Cubs at the top of those divisions, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates winning 87 games this year. Congratulations to them. Love to see that. Would love to see that in real life, too. Them sneak in as a wild card team. That'd be fun. And then in the National League West, you've got the Dodgers, only with 90 wins, but still enough to win the division. That's just classic luck there. The Dodgers don't even win 100 games, and they still win the division quite handedly by 6 games over the Giants and the Padres because they just can't put it together. So there you have what the playoff tree looks like. You've got the Detroit Tigers and New York Yankees, along with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves as your first-round buys, straight on to the DS. While in the wildcard series, you've got the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, and the Astros and the Mariners. While over on the wildcard series, it's the Cubs and the Mets. Or for the National League, I should say, it's the Cubs and the Mets, and then the Pirates and the Dodgers. So the Pirates get to sneak in, and congratulations, your reward is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I shouldn't say sneak in, they won 86 games, but, they get to play the Dodgers, and we wish them luck, and we shall see what the playoff picture looked like at the end of the postseason when we come back for the next one for the first off-season episode of the Nationals.